So air pollution generally in London, particularly nitrogen oxides, has remained fairly stable for the last 10 or so years. It's still fairly high. The congestion zone did produce a weekly downwards trend for nitrogen oxides. However, the reason that the Mayor has introduced these systems and instruments to try and make people aware of air pollution and to try and reduce it is mainly due to public awareness of the air pollution issue, particularly since the Dieselgate scandal with Volkswagen trying to cheat their emissions testing. That really stirred the public imagination against, or stirred it to be aware of the issue in the first place. Before that, it tended not to be a particularly big item on the agenda because pollution is invisible. You can't see it. Whereas the smogs in 1950s was much more visible. You could see and taste it.
Nel 1959, in occasione dell'anniversario del nostro matrimonio, abbiamo deciso con mio marito di andare a Londra e di passarci una decina di giorni. Io sono rimasta incantata da tutto l'insieme e i famosi magazzini da Harrods ci stavo quasi a giornate intere. Passando i giorni mi sono accorta che sia che si vedeva dei signori molto eleganti che portavano sempre la bombetta, poi che la maggior parte delle signore, anche che incontravo da Harrods o per la strada, erano tutte vestite di elegantissimi tailleur grigi, con la veletta in testa. Io mi domandavo come mai fossero, essendo così eleganti e evidentemente persone che stavano bene economicamente, come mai fossero vestite tutte di grigio. Poi, dopo 2 o 3 giorni che eravamo a Londra, io una sera scoprì che il mio sottabito, che era di seta bianco, era sul grigio, e allora ho capito che il famoso fumo di Londra esisteva veramente, che influiva sui vestiti, insomma, su tutto. E allora anch'io mi comprai la veletta e bisognava andare vestiti di grigio, perché se no, se andavi vestiti di colorato, dopo 2 o 3 giorni eri tutta grigia, e questo è il fumo di Londra. Queste sono le cose principali che ricordo di Londra.
Poi l'hai lavata quella sottoveste?
L'hai
lavata quella sottoveste?
L'ho lavata.
I would argue that there's still not enough public awareness and the population aren't as worried as they should be. There's no safe levels of air pollution as there might be for some other harmful substances.
UCL has £12.5 million invested in the fossil fuel industry. This industry is killing our planet. If we don't do something about this now, you think there's a refugee crisis now? In 20 years' time, there will be millions and millions of climate refugees. If we don't start addressing the hypocrisy and corruption of the fossil fuel industry now, we will have no future.
So my name is Julia and I am part of Fossil Free UCL. So we're here today because we did some talking. So UCL has £12.5 million investment in the fossil fuel industry, and we've been doing 4 years of campaigning, and 16 universities have divested in the past year. That makes up a quarter of all universities in the UK. So we think it's finally time for UCL to divest as well. A few days ago, King's divested after 8 weeks of escalation of direct action actions. So we're starting UCL escalations of actions as well. On Friday we did some escalations actions right by the provost office, where we smeared basically ketchup and Marmite representing blood and oil onto the lion statues in front of the provost office.
The action today was a really peaceful one. No damage was done. We spent more time cleaning the mess we've created than actually protesting. The issue that everyone needs to understand, all the people that pass by and rush to a lecture or whatever, is that climate change is not a sentimental issue, it's not a partisan politics issue, it's not an ideological issue, it's mainstream science. Virtually every scientist in the world agrees that human-caused climate change is a major problem faced by humanity right now, and we need to act.
So there's more to come. Tomorrow we're going to have a flash mob where it's going to be dance, music, and just marching. It's going to be a lot of fun.
He doesn't care about you. You are literally products to him. He is running a business here.
And if you want that man as your provost, then you must be crazy. He has already been impeached by another university. Why is he our provost? He doesn't care about us. We are his money-making machines and nothing more.
The issue in Beijing, for example, is worse because it's much more visible and has a much larger impact. In London, it's still pretty bad. There's nearly 10,000 attributable deaths to air pollution per year, but that's not literally people choking and dying on the street. That tends to be through respiratory and cardiovascular illnesses than direct death, so it's much less visible to the immediate person. So buses have become more efficient over time, but that's fairly marginal changes, and given that they've actually increased in use in London over the last few years, the absolute level of pollution has probably gone up. But now there is a real move to particularly electric and some hydrogen buses in London on key routes like Putney High Street, and there is a commitment by the Mayor to have a substantial shift to low and zero emission buses by the mid-2020s, I believe. I think a big part of the solution will be pedestrianisation and cycle lanes in London in particular, but also other big cities around the UK and the world. You have the advantage with cycling and walking you have two advantages. One is if you simply transfer from a private car to even a pool car, you still have a loss of pollutants coming from the tyres of those vehicles. Roughly 50% of particulate matter emissions are from the tyres and braking, not from the exhausts. So if you then go to walking and cycling, you are heavily reducing those as well. The second win is you're then promoting public health through reduction in obesity through active movement. But it's still very much a worry, and the public isn't worried enough of the issue. And they aren't putting enough pressure on decision makers to tackle the issue, even though public support is growing and will grow further over time.